I think so.
Well, we gonna start.
We started, baby.
Okay, see,
We
Lavish
started.
playing too much. Listen, welcome to the Lavish and COCO podcast. It is Tuesday, May the 2nd, 2023. I don't know why I did that reality orientation. I just want you to know what's going on. 12:05 Eastern Standard Time. And let me just offer this disclaimer. I be here on time. Lavish the one be messing around. He called me at 10:57 and gave me this whole speech, and I said I'm on my way, and I literally sat in the parking lot 30 minutes, and he still was late. Hey, Lavish, how you doing?
Man, I'm just sitting up here just wondering to myself, why is it that Coco always got a mouthful to say?
Whenever you see me with fatigue on, and I own
You ain't ready to do
a
nothing.
lot of camo. I own a lot of camo and a lot of fatigue. This is a little known trivia question. In certain countries, wearing camouflage and fatigue is a disrespect. So unless you are in the military, you cannot.
So stop being disrespectful, because I don't wear camouflage, even though I am a soldier. So, anywho, listen, before she finished her foolishness, we got a guest in the house. We got a great show. Now she want to introduce. She want to take over as always. Go ahead, Coco. Go ahead.
Be smooth, man.
Hold on. Listen, let me explain something to you.
Coco,
women are always in charge.
The guest, please.
Women always in charge. I don't take over.
The power of the anyways,
of the
right?
So listen, we got an amazing guest, and he is a relationship counselor. His name is Greg Dudzinski.
Sweet. Hey, peace, everybody. Peace. What's up?
So,
I'm so happy and thrilled to be here for real.
I'm excited to have you here for a lot of reasons. Have not seen you in a minute. I think we saw before the world shut down.
Collapsed,
at a media event. But Greg, we're going to jump right in because I got a couple questions. And my first question, because when folks found out you were coming on.
Oh, you got them even written down already.
Oh, listen, they messaged me, they DM me.
Sweet, hit me up.
So one of the first questions I got is, wait a minute. What is a relationship in this time that we're in? What does a relationship look like in 2023 as opposed to 20 years ago?
Oh, my goodness. I think it's, Coco, you know what? That's a loaded question. It's very subjective, right? For real. I think there's a lot more openness now. You still have the monogamy, the one-on-one relationships. Yeah, I don't think there's really any difference than it is 20 years ago, but there are more, we'll say, kinds of relationships out there, right?
Okay.
There are people, open relationships. There's poly. There's, maybe they have agreements to be swingers, more sexually fluid with that situation. I think people are more sexually curious than they ever have been now.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think they look at that, but I think the premise of what most people want hasn't really changed. Okay. But there's a lot more openness out there as far as people looking for diversity.
Okay. And 20 years ago, it was more of a, I don't think these swingers.
It was in the closet more. No pun intended.
Because I don't think swingers just popped up. I don't think
they've been around for real.
I don't think it popped up. I think we now live in a society where people can have, to a degree, the conversation.
Absolutely.
The thing that is interesting to me is just because you do something does not mean everybody want to be included and invited to the party.
Absolutely right.
That's the part, and I always say you got to read the room. So you gotta read the room, and for myself, because I'm so outspoken and open or whatever.
So it ain't just lavish, right?
No, it ain't. But I get real interested invitations and suggestions because I think people want to bring me into. I know people want to bring me into this situation. So
as far as sexual, or just relationship?
No, sexually. It's a sexual thing. So I know a young lady who told me, she said, "Oh, you'd be surprised at how much money you can make as a dominatrix." And I was like, "No, that's not my thing." And just last week I was out doing an event, And this young lady came up to me and she introduced herself as a swinger. I'm like, that's cool. She said, oh, I don't want you to trip or nothing. And we weren't even in a setting to be having that conversation.
And she just brought it out there.
She came up after about 2 or 3 drinks.
Blame it on the alcohol.
Yeah. And she's like, I'm a swinger. I said, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
She was like, yeah, because, and she went on and explained it. I said, listen, we're going to abort this mission because I see that you going down the street. I said, I'm really not interested. Oh, okay, I was just, I said, listen, that's your preference and that's what you like to do.
Trying to pull you in.
But you just can't walk up to everybody and think that's what they want to do.
No,
so that's the part that
did you feel flattered or did you feel disrespected?
I really didn't feel anything. But I just wanted her to know, because she was a lot younger than me. She younger than my daughter. But I just want her to know what your preference is and what you want to do. You have to wait till you get agreed signals from a person.
Yes, COCO,
I
agree.
So you just can't assume because this person is attractive or this person may act a certain way or whatever, that's your inroad to just jump in and be like, hey, what's up? Let me blow your back out.
Right. We assume, and that we all know what assume means, right? When we're talking about those situations, people assume everybody's doing this, everything's that. And that's on the first question you asked me about what a relationship, is it any different than 20 years ago? I think people are a lot more open and free and adventurous, but they're talking about it now more. They're able to be more open. They're not hiding it. They're not as maybe ashamed about it.
But
might be a better word for it.
Greg, do you think they're talking about it because it's to be talked about, or you think, because I think sometimes we talk ourselves into things to convince ourselves that this is something we want to do. Like, I don't have to have a conversation with myself that I'm attracted to men, I'm a heterosexual woman, blah, blah, blah. I don't have to have that conversation.
You know it. That's your essence.
I know it. But when I hear other people say, yeah, because I'm so-and-so and da-da-da, are you talking yourself into believing it, or are you not comfortable with your attractions or your choices?
That is, you know what? That's a very good question.
What you think it is?
I mean, me personally, I don't know. I mean,
do you roll both ways, or is that too private to put out there?
You said, do I what both
do you
ways?
Roll both ways?
No, I'm straight with the women.
Same
I both ways. There's only one way.
No disrespect.
No, you gotta ask.
No,
listen. Here's the thing. You have to ask, because if you don't, you'll be 10, 15, 20 days in, and you be like, oh, and the person like, well, you didn't ask me. So I don't think men should be offended when they get asked. I don't think women should be offended, because like you said, Greg, in the world of everything, I want to know.
Absolutely.
I want to know, okay, listen, what you like. Because it's some stuff. Let me give you my checkoff list. I don't do that. Damn sure don't do that. It's just some stuff I ain't going to do. And I think because people feel like if they look a certain way, the other person supposed to know. I think you need to have a conversation.
Absolutely.
I think you need to say, what's up, how you get down, what you like, because you don't want to get into a situation and you find out that you with, and I don't know the clinical name for it, a person that likes to bite. And they like to bite hard.
They might be into more,
pain.
S&M.
BDSM?
BDSM, right. And there's so many different levels. There's more calm, more quiet, more severe. Where I deal with couples, and one of them or both of them, every time they have sex, they need to bleed.
Yeah.
You said they need to bleed.
Yeah, they bite each other and
bite. Hit, cut, digging through flesh.
I mean, I'm traditional.
Yeah.
Oh no.
For the most part,
See, me and you sitting over here looking.
It's surprised. Curious to hear what they say, but
I'm not that way.
See, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
I'm because
it's rare I'm surprised anymore what I run into.
Yeah. And I'm in this industry and I've seen so much.
Oh, you would, Coco, for real, man.
I'm not. Initially, like 15, 20, 25 years ago, I was like, oh, okay. But now they're like, yeah, you know, he likes, I'll be like, yeah, I've been knew that. That's not nothing new. But it's a lot of people that do a lot of stuff. Whew.
For real. I still deal with people, they're in their mid late 60s and they're still in the lifestyle swinging.
Yeah. Yeah.
They have been for 30, 40 years. So, you know, it's different out there. But if you're not into it, it's like I talk about people on a first date, right?
Yeah.
Do you just throw your stuff out there? Hey, I'm looking for this, that. People won't ever do that, right? Why waste people's time if you're looking for one thing? Like you're saying, Coco, right? Hey, I'm not into this. I'm not into that. Can you throw it out there? But people say, oh, it's only a first date. Why would you talk? But if you're looking for, well, let's face it, if you're looking for a long-term relationship, be real, be open. Hey, I like this. I like this. Man, I love oral. I don't love oral. Or if you're just looking for a hookup, do you want to know too, right?
So
be real.
What point, Greg and Lavish, because you guys.
Yeah.
What point, if you on a date.
We're being set up.
If you on a date with a woman, and let's say, okay, you've been watching this woman, she attractive and all of that, and you all having a good date. Food, good conversation, good music, the whole ambiance. And she just starts to disclose certain things that she likes to do sexually on the first date. Do you think it should be discussed on the first date? Or do you think it's like, well, wait a minute, hold on. I don't even know your last name and your favorite color. I need to get a little more detail.
I don't know. I think it's, you know, for me personally, I don't see it being a problem.
Right
all the time, because I got to be careful with the way that I word stuff. I don't foresee it being a problem either way. I think it's based upon how the conversation was generated.
Okay.
Because you could flow right into it based off of something that was already mentioned.
She just flow right into it.
And I think that that's just open dialogue, open conversation of what that woman is expecting, looking for, and it kind of gives me a gauge as well to see where she's at, because she can share all of the most raunchiest, nastiest things that she might enjoy, but at the same time, she only enjoys it with a mate, and she's in this, and she wants to go into this relationship, and she's open to put it out there up front.
I got you.
So it's not necessarily for me to look at her to say, oh man, this lady's a freak. She's just this, is that. It's just the approach,
the context,
the context, the conversation.
So you're not gonna see her any different once she
not at
puts
all.
That out
no,
there?
I'm not gonna look at her any different because I know, hey, one, I'm on a date with her, so I'm already attracted to her and I'm feeling her in some type of way.
Okay.
This is going to take me to another level if I'm going to proceed.
Okay.
Or if I'm going to say I'm not that.
You're looking for something else.
Yeah, I'm looking for something else. Okay. If it's something that can match me, then it's like, okay, because she's sharing something with me, and she might open me up to share the same thought that she's having.
Okay.
So now we're on the same page as far as what we're looking for. And the communication level between the two of us will be a lot better. It's not necessarily a bad thing, because I know what you might be saying, because you might be looking at it, and some people might say some stuff and it comes out to be in a negative light. Like, man, this girl, she on the first day, she's saying this, she's saying that, and it, you know, it's all content based. It's all content based.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Lavish on it. For me too, a lot of people might be intimidated by, a lot of men might be intimidated by women that are very confident. Let's be real, that are confident, that own their sexuality, that own their who they are. I love it. I think it more women need to be like that and be courageous and own who they are. And there's a difference between being confident and being ratchety and being arrogant.
Right.
So I for me, it's fine. I have no problem with it. That doesn't mean she wants that with me, or I'm going to want that with her.
Right.
Be open, be real with it. I'm not into, so many people are still into sex shaming or slut shaming, and that needs to stop.
That's where I was going, because you may want to disclose certain things, but being a woman, you like, well, this conversation is going good. This is where I would interject, blah, blah, blah. But you don't know how this man is going to respond. You don't know if he's going to flip. You don't know if he's mature enough to handle what you're saying. You don't know if he's going to go on social media and say, hey, I went on a date.
You know what, Coco? That's a good question,
yeah,
right?
So we want to have a conversation, but I think it's easier if a man shares with a woman what he likes.
Oh, here we go.
No. Let me say this. No, wait, listen, Greg, listen. If a man has a conversation with a woman,
right,
sometimes it's expected by a woman that the man is going to say certain things. But if a woman says certain things and the man is an off cue or is taken the wrong way.
Intimidated?
He may feel intimidated. He may feel disrespected. We don't know what he's going to do with that information.
Correct. Now, tell me, and I love getting in debates and conversations about this. And I don't get into, we were talking about this before we went live a little bit. I don't get into a lot of gender stereotypes, okay?
Okay.
And I look at a lot of women, it's the same thing. Would you ever ask a man out, if you're, heterosexual, would you ever ask a man out on a date? And a lot of women, or would you initiate sex? Would you women initiate? Oh, no, they feel like they don't have to because they're so used of that caveman mentality about the men pursuing and chasing, being the hunters and all that stuff. I want women to also initiate. There's nothing wrong with that, and own that. And I love when you did say some men might take it a certain way. My question is, would you walk on eggshells and you're not being disrespectful at all.
Right,
would you walk on eggshells trying to make someone else happy or trying to sort of gauge what's proper, what's not proper?
Well, I don't want to say you on eggshells, but I do want to say that you kind of err on the side of caution, because it's in our mind.
I'm not going to disagree with that.
No, I know. Yeah. In our mind, it's like, how is he going to perceive this? Because perception is reality. So if I say these things, how is he going to perceive them? And is it going to change this great conversation we've had, this great dinner, our great experience, everything that we've had? Now, if I tell him that I'm into X, Y, and Z, how is he going to perceive it? And I'm gonna go one up. I've chosen to be abstinent, right? And
with yourself or with other people? That might be too personal.
No. I am. I've been on the wagon. So, okay, here we go. Let me fix this because I messed it up, right? So here we go. Since 2017. That's July 2017. I've only had sex one time from 2017 until now. And when I tell men that, I get a few reactions. Damn, your coochie broke? No, it's not. And we talking about, listen, hold on, Greg. We talking about
boys or men?
I'm talking about grown,
right?
There's a difference. Grown ass men who I thought were grown, or I
age don't matter when it comes to this.
Age does not matter. Or I'll get the well, wait a minute, you ain't been with me, because I tell you, if you give me a chance, you'll stop all of that. And I'm like, no. Out of, let's say, if I've been on 100 dates between 2017 and now, it's only been maybe 3% out of those dates, hypothetically. Or I'm gonna put dates and conversations, I'm gonna put it all in the same bag.
Okay.
It may have been 3% that have said, well, why did you choose to be abstinent? Mm-hmm. Is this a personal choice? Is it a physical choice? Is it a chemical choice? Why did you make this decision? And when you tell them, out of that 3%, 1% say, oh, okay, I can respect that. Mm-hmm. The 2% out of that 3% are like, well, oh man, see, oh, I don't know. And I say, listen, if it's something that's too deep for you and you don't want to date a woman that's abstinent, I'm okay with that. And they may start off, so let's say we may talk every other day. And then it goes to twice a week. And then the conversation fall off because I think the appropriate thing for them to say, or they felt the appropriate thing to say was, oh, okay, well, that's cool. But then in reality, they was like, no, I can't really deal with that. So I would rather you say, well, listen, I like you, I'm attracted to you or whatever, but I want a woman that's sexually active. I want somebody that I could blow their back out. I'm okay with that as opposed to you acting like you with it and then you think about it and you not.
Or they try to, let's be real, and you've experienced this forever, right? That they're going to try to change your mind.
Oh, absolutely.
They're going to try to change your mind, manipulate you, and disrespect. Try to disrespect you and where you're at, Coco.
Yeah.
And that is, people, you take them where they are, and you only go by what they say, right?
Yes. And that part is, first of all, you listen to the Lavish and COCO podcast. Like us, share us, subscribe to us, and let your friends know, because we're talking to Greg Dunzinski today, and he is a relationship counselor, and we talking about all the good stuff. So, Greg, here's the part about that. It's the sex shaming. Like, so wait a minute. So you just woke up one day, and I had one guy say, well, as old as you are, you should be giving it away. I said,
oh, damn. Did you? Can I say this? I'm going to ask you. Did you punch him in the dick when you said that?
So I wanted to fight him so bad. He's like, old as you are.
Did you really?
I want to sock the shit out of him.
And let me tell you
why.
Disrespectful.
He said, as old as you are, you ought to be giving that stuff away. I said, why? I said, that's even more reason, as old as I am, to be discreet in what I'm doing. He was like,
more choosy.
Yes. He was like, I just don't understand. And he was really baffled that I said, listen, this is my choice. I said, tell me something that you did 7, 8, 9 years ago that you don't do now. He's like, it's a lot of stuff. I said, well, is there anything that somebody could do to get you back to do that? He said, absolutely not. I said, it's the same thing with me. This is where I am. And these are the reasons that I'm there. It's nothing wrong with me, but I've made a choice. And making that choice, it's a great filter. It is I'm telling you, it saves a lot of time. It saves me from putting clothes in the cleaners, getting it clean, and going out on a date to figure out like, oh, okay. So if a man spends $30 on you and takes you to the Mexican restaurant, take you to Social Micos, it's the same as if he spends $400 on you and take you to Prime and Proper. If they expect sex, it does not matter the amount of money that they spend. That's a whole nother thing. We could have that conversation.
Oh, we could go there. How many ladies out there looking for a free meal, right? They just date to get free food. Anyways, that's a whole nother session. We'll get into that. Looking, and I'm all about being open and I love that, right? I don't care if people choose, men, women, if they choose celibacy, if they choose, I don't care if women, I said women, go out and have one night stands. There should not be any sex shaming at all. If that's what you want to do, or if somebody wants to, refrain from sex, that's their choice. But we need to get rid of the shaming and all that and look at, what? Yeah, I respect that. That might not be for me, but can you be open and honest and respect that people's decision? Because a lot of people, right? I want you to be what I want. You need to be okay with me and what I want, but you're not looking at, I'm huge at intent versus impact, right? So
I like that. Wait, say that again.
Intent versus impact, right? Okay. Our intent might be one thing. We have to look at how we're impacting other people. Okay. And you also have to look at, hey, I respect that. I appreciate where you are. I'm just looking for something different. And a lot of people, it's still at any age, insecurities, fears, afraid to not be good enough, not measure up, whatever, okay? And is there a difference between that versus you're just looking for something different? And I'm real. I don't BS. I don't blow smoke up people's booties. I'm real when a lot of people, I'm not good enough. I'm not good. I get that. I want to help, increase the confidence and self-love and self-respect. And you look at if somebody wants something different than you, does that mean you're not good enough or they're not good enough? You're just looking for something different,
but it's
right?
I think we have our differences.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because people judge you on your differences, that's okay. So now,
for real,
we don't have that conversation. So that's another conversation that we don't have. And then here's another conversation. I'm asking you gentlemen this. I like this part, right? Men ask women how many bodies you got. Right?
Why does it matter?
Well, because it's the question. So if you're going to ask a woman and she's 40, how many bodies she got, then you have to understand that no matter what she says, how you feel about it.
I don't know if that stuff really happens. I mean, at least coming from
for real.
It
still happens.
I don't see it
Doesn't
at
matter
this point,
to you.
No, it doesn't.
You know what?
And Lavish, I'm not even gonna.
So
I'm not
beautiful. I had 250 count. Would you still want me if I was?
I don't think that. I don't think that would be. I don't think that would be part of my conversation.
No.
Are you tripping?
No, I'm not tripping. I just don't think it'd be a part of my conversation.
So if she did tell you, she said, "Listen, I'm 40 years old." And I done been with 250 guys.
Why do you ask, right?
Right. I don't think it's part of. I don't think it's part of my conversation.
Okay, I see.
Because it's I don't want to know. But then, what relevance does it play?
Doesn't really matter. Lavish,
you know,
right?
Okay. So that's why I say that.
Now, if somebody asked you, a lady, asked you, "Hey, Lavish, how many booties you knock?" Right? And you're like, "Does it really matter?"
Yeah,
I mean, me personally, I want to be honest with you. Do I know a count? No.
Do you have an estimate in your head?
I don't have an estimate because I started late.
Okay.
And I've been in more relationships than just out with random people.
Okay.
So as far as guys in my circle, I'm probably like at the lower,
low end?
Yeah, at the low end, and I don't have a problem with that.
Still ain't throwing a number.
I'm not throwing a number out.
Not that you have to. I told you, I'm not into shaming or bashing, not at all.
So if a female do ask me that, it's like I really couldn't honestly give her a number because I don't go home and add a check mark and say, it's 47, 48. So
to boost your ego and pride, like a lot of cats do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know.
That's one of the things. And my question in this season and this whatever going on in the world, I may not be concerned about your body count. When was the last time you had an STI test? When the last time you got tested for HIV? You got tested for sexually transmitted infections. When the last time you been to the doctor? Because see, your body count, it's important, but not really. I mean, not really.
You can have sex one time and end up with
in the situation.
STD or STI, right?
Have you been checked this year? Because every time I go to the doctor, me and my doctor at the point like, okay, as you write down, I'm going to get this, and this, add all that up. Because that's how life is. And I've had unprotected sex. Man. So I want to know for myself as to what's going on. That's my bigger question. Hey, you ever had... forget the body count. You ever had gonorrhea?
When was the last time you were tested, right?
When was the last time you were tested? And while we talking about sexually transmitted infections, have you ever been tested for autism? Are you on the spectrum? It's a lot of other questions that I want to know. I want to know, how do you handle yourself when you're angry? Do you fight? Have you ever hit a woman? Have you ever hit your partner? How do you deal with rejection? Am I going to have to come outside and you dressed up like a dog hiding in my bushes like this because me and you broke up?
Ass, right?
Yes. Those are the questions that affect my level of comfort. That's my question.
Do you feel, and we talked about before on a first date, whatever, being transparent and open. Do you think, I wish everybody would be honest, right?
They scared.
But they're scared, they're ashamed, or
all of that.
They're fronting, coming across like I'm all this when you're not.
Yeah.
But do you think, how many men would answer that question? Have you ever hit a woman? Now, it's different. We got to be careful. Hitting a woman, little spanky is different.
Yeah, that's
a little different.
The intimate.
So,
but were you ever
and women
mad
too?
Enough with? Oh yeah.
There's some.
Yeah,
It's some fighters. It's some women that's fighters.
Ooh, for real.
It's some women that's absolutely fighters. But I will ask a man, have you ever been angry enough, or how do you handle your anger?
I love that.
What do you do if we get into an argument and you mad with me? Are you gonna leave? We gonna retreat to neutral corners? Yep. How are you gonna handle that? That's a question. And since we're having this conversation, how do the men in your family deal with the same question? Is it a history?
Are you looking for a learned behavior?
Yeah, because
or genetics.
Yes,
it could be both.
It could be both. It could be learned behavior, and then it could be genetics. How did your father deal with your mother when he was angry with her? And the other side is, how did the women in your family deal with men? Because we put domestic violence in the laps of all the men, but there are a lot of women out here that are just as and even more aggressive than a man.
I
can attest to that.
Right,
too,
I agree,
big time.
But I want to say this too, Coco, as you say all the things that you say, which are very good points.
Extremely
definitely
good points.
Very good points and information that need to be talked about. But I think when you start getting that in depth, that's going to come as the conversation develops and with time. Because here we go. You can meet a guy on a Monday, and if you're asking him all that by Thursday, at that point, depending on the individual, he's only going to tell you what you want to hear. And when you start being around that individual, some of the questions that you have, you'll be able to find out.
Let me throw
just
this
like
in.
on the opposite side.
Let me throw this in, and I don't want to interrupt you. If we sit at the table having dinner and we halfway in the dinner, and you say, "Oh, I want to eat your ass," then I had the right to ask you about your sexual history and have you gotten
right, because it comes up in that conversation.
Yeah.
And I agree. I agree.
Now, if we dating and we ain't nothing got physical, then I finesse it in. But Lavish, being a woman trying to reintroduce myself to this dating world, it is so many things that. Wait, let me stop. You could be 30 minutes into a conversation with a guy, right? And he done sent you a whole picture of his hookup.
No, I talked to women. I talk to women,
because you always at the gym working out. What do they tell you?
Then they say that they are not attracted to that.
And how long?
And really, what happens with me?
Day or hour
right, they do that.
See?
So me being a guy, but a guy who has a lot of female friends, and they feel very comfortable talking to me. Right. I listen to all of the stuff that they say because that lets me know, hey, that's not something to do. So I'm not doing that, and I listen, and females, they talk to me because they want to get a male's perspective.
Absolutely.
And at the same time, while they're getting a male's perspective, I'm getting a female's perspective from different women that's telling me this and telling me that. And it just really sharpens me up to be a better guy, because I'm listening to this person. I'm listening to that person. I'm putting it all into a gumbo, seeing what works out best to fit me.
Right.
Which is great. I'm all about that. But like Coco says, okay, say you're a month, 2 months into it, your heart, soul are all into that person. Then you start finding out that, okay, maybe he or she was violent, in a prior relationship, right? Mm-hmm. Now, when your heart and soul are in this, and I get into this all the time,
come on,
those red flags now, do you water them down, make them a little pink?
Oh, yeah, you make them pink. Listen.
Because your heart and soul are there.
Yep.
Oh, he won't do that to me. She won't do that to me. Mm-hmm. Do you start, and they might not. I'm all about giving people chances, absolutely. But do you start watering down those red flags that might be deal breakers for you because there's a month, 2 months. There's been people I've dealt with in my office, whatever, okay? They lied about their age by 8 years.
Wow. That's almost 10 years.
For 6 months. They got married and then found out the partner had herpes. After they got married, they found out. She told him. Hey, everyone's assuming it's a guy. Do you understand? So you've been lied to. You get me thinking everything's legit.
Wow.
Now, what do you do? So everybody, that's what I'm saying.
Wow.
And people, we know we're embarrassed, we're ashamed, guilt. We don't feel good about ourselves. But you're taking that decision-making power away from that other person.
Yeah.
And that's so disrespectful.
Yeah. See, for me, that is a deal. For me, I'm really keen on honesty.
Huge.
And omission is a lie.
Yes.
If I ask you how many times you've been married, and you say, I've been married twice, and then later on you was like, no, I really been married 3 times, but I was only with her for 45 minutes. It don't matter. Did you say I do? Now you making me delve, and I don't want to have to do a deep dive, because now
peeling that onion back.
I'm like, do I have to ask all questions and make it a 2-part question? Like, have you ever been arrested? Have you ever been to jail? Have you ever been to prison? I don't want to do that, because the more I do that, the more I lose my attraction for you, and the more I think that you being deceptive.
It's trust, right?
Yes. And then, Greg, you get these words that come into play, and I think these words sometimes are overused. Gaslighting, narcissistic,
very much so,
and love bombing. Yes. I think as a society, gaslighting been around since the movie came out in the 40s.
Right.
Yeah. So
it started before that movie.
Well,
it started in a play before that in the 20s.
Yes. And so let's go back 80 years.
It's overused. It's so overused.
People learning how to use it, and they interject that into the culture. They interject the word gaslighting.
Yes.
And then they interject the word narcissist. Sometimes people just asshole. I think you could clinically treat a narcissist. An asshole, you just have to lead them where they are. Yeah, well, sometimes.
I know.
And then the whole thing about love bombing, it was like, oh, he just love bombing you, whatever. But what if he really feels the way that he feels, or she feels the way that she feels, and they're comfortable and they like doing nice, sweet things for you?
Awesome, right?
So now it's like, I got to really pay attention to you, because you on some bullshit now. I feel
most people think that, right? You're running game on me, right?
And for you to not tell me something as serious as, especially we in 2023, so herpes and HIV this year don't mean what it meant when I was a nurse and I finished nursing school in 1987.
Yeah.
It's totally different. You can live and maintain a healthy monogamous relationship with someone that has herpes, with someone that has HIV, just like I see them in the same sense. Almost it's somebody saying, I got high blood pressure and I'm a diabetic.
I love that.
So you tell me you got high blood pressure, you're diabetic. Okay, so I need to know that if you're diabetic, your blood sugar go up and down, what you need to eat, whatever. If you got high blood pressure, when you take your medicine or whatever. If you had HIV and I choose to stay into this relationship with you, then there are certain things that, okay, you got to go get your shot, you got to do this, you got to do whatever.
Right?
Yes, but I think when you don't tell me any of that, you making a decision for me. And that's a maroon flag for me. It's beyond red. It's scarlet red for me.
It's sad. And there's a lot of other, I wouldn't say a lot. There's still a lot of shaming in the field. A lot of other sex therapists throughout the country are getting away from the shaming and all that stuff. And you look at, there's still a lot of shaming, like, if there's herpes, if there's, and people don't know. They could be, monogamous, their partner cheats on them, brings it back to them, and all of a sudden, oh, they're dirty, they're this. So I love COCO for real. I love your perspective, because there's so much shaming on that, and you can still be happy in precautions. And that, everybody associates, someone with high blood pressure, oh, that's acceptable, whatever. But if somebody had, herpes or whatever, genital warts or whatever, HIV, they're, oh my God, it's dirty. It's because where it came from versus
where we are now.
People need to educate themselves big
time.
So thank you for that.
We need to read. We need to have a conversation, and then that gives me the choice. Because in reality, it's a lot of people that don't want to date somebody that got high blood pressure. They don't want to date somebody that's a diabetic.
Ooh.
Especially if they're not managing their diabetes.
Absolutely.
So you got somebody who you with them and they blood sugar going up and down, or they starting to show symptoms of diabetes with the skin issues and all of that stuff. So some people don't want to deal with nobody that got nothing. A lot of stuff that we don't say or do is because of embarrassment and because of shame. One more question. Hold on. Lavish, you got a question while I find my other question?
Yeah, let me go ahead and get it in
before
you.
It's a goodie. It's a goodie.
Before you get to going, Greg, listen. Let me ask you. In today's world, as far as dating, and I want to piggyback because we started off slightly talking about it in the beginning, traditional dating versus what I call conventional dating. Do you think that when it comes down to dating nowadays, that we already know people went away from traditional dating? Do you?
I'm looking at what is your view? That's right. It's like couples, excuse me, come in. Oh, Greg, I want a normal relationship. I want a tradition. I'm like, what is that?
Well, what I want to know. What I want to know is, do you think dating now is whatever works for the two or whoever is involved, versus what society assumes is a traditional relationship, which is man and woman date, man and woman get married, man and woman have a family, versus what makes an individual happy? Because you do have all of these different types of relationships.
Now I get you.
Yeah, you do have that. Okay. So I might look at my grandparents' relationship and see all my life it was them two, right, man and woman, and that's my definition of what a traditional relationship is.
That might work for
that
you.
era.
It might not work for.
It might not work for me.
1,000 other people.
Right. Where I feel like, for me, not saying me, but another individual might feel like, hey, I love this one person for this reason.
Correct.
Because of this. Mm-hmm. But I also love someone else over here.
Okay.
Because of this. And you think like, man, if I can just put them together to be one. Yeah. But I can't. Is it a matter of what works out for that person or the people that's involved to make their relationship work? Because we see it on social media all the time.
It's both.
It's both?
It needs to be. It's a very, and I tell people, it's subjective, right? I tell people what works for you might not work for anybody else. And a lot of people, COCO and I, we're talking about the shaming or, trying to fit certain needs. And I said, earlier, it might be different, but you need to be open and honest. Hey, I'm looking for this. I want a poly relationship. Well, you know what? I'm not into that. My best luck to you. There shouldn't be any bashing, shaming. Right. When you talk about traditional, there's still a lot of people that want to do the traditional, dating. Okay. It could be heterosexual, same-sex relationship, and they've been around for a long time too, but they're a lot more freer and open. Love it. So, but you and people need to get. We'll get into that's whole
another show.
Episode. But anyways, when you say about traditional, I'm looking at. Are you looking to date, live together, get married, have kids, have a family, whatever? And there's a lot of people that live together, they're not married, and they have kids. So that's what I'm looking at. What does traditional mean? Who decides that? Is it religion? Is it culture? Mm-hmm. Race? Is it I think I said religion. I said parents, grandparents, whoever raised us. Who decides that? And do we ever challenge, does that work for me? And is it okay? Or are we afraid to have whoever raised us, whatever society, be mad at us, shun us? And we can't do that. So we're living an obligation for somebody else, even though we're not happy. And I think that's where you were going with that, Lavish. So when it comes to traditional, 85% of couples over the last 8 years now are meeting online in one form or another. Yeah. Now, is that traditional? 30 years ago? Oh, hell
no.
So that's where
back then.
Right?
Yeah.
No, but it was more. It was more for me approaching a female.
Yeah.
Talk, see a person. So online dating, so online dating was kind of still to this day for certain people. It's still kind of leery, especially in the day and age we live in, because people are getting catfish. People are not who they say they are. People are dating
pictures from 10 years ago.
People setting you up on dating sites. You got to keep safety issues become a factor. And then what we don't talk about too is the safety of women going out here meeting individuals and dating. It used to be when you did crime as far as theft, people would steal items, belongings, cars. Yep. Now people are stealing humans.
Yes.
Well, to be honest with that, the sex trafficking and everything, right? Believe it or not, it's always been around.
It's been not publicated the way that it is now.
But what about meeting online? Talking about that, how many men are meeting women online and end up, they end up going to a restaurant, bar, whatever, and all of a sudden their boyfriend, brothers, whatever, it's a setup where they get mugged and robbed.
Yes, it's two sides to that.
Yes,
it's I've set up the profile, I've done the online and whatever, and let me just tell you this. When I tell you that people have an issue with accepting who they really are and how they look, we have an issue. And listen, I know we go through sometimes smaller levels of body dysmorphia. You may not like your thighs, or you may don't like the fact that you balding, or whatever the case may be. Hey. Listen, I got the thighs, but we have to. You have to really, really, really. For me, I put a profile up on a couple dating apps.
Yeah, were you real, legit?
Yeah.
Awesome, great.
No, baby, let me tell you what I met. I met one gentleman who, my first conversation with him, he was angry. Like, his whole conversation was, and I'm like, are you? He was angry with women. He was a misogynist, literally. If it was a clinical definition,
right?
Because every other word, I said, listen, it's been cool talking to you, whatever. I said, but you sound like you hate women.
Right.
He sounded like he hated women. He was like, yeah, you just like all them other bitches. I said, okay. So I got off the phone with him.
Peace out, yo.
Deuces.
Peace
no, for
out,
real.
man.
Listen.
No,
it was
for real.
Wow. It was
Absolutely.
And then he kept saying,
but you're looking for a woman. Why are you looking for a woman?
Because
when
he
you
had
hate
issues.
Women, right?
And then he said, no,
right?
As I was saying, well, I finna go. He said, no, for real, like, where can we meet up?
I'm scared of you. What nowhere. Do I want to meet up with you?
We can't meet up nowhere.
and for real.
It's like, and I know my situation is different, but for the women that don't have reinforcement, he was tripping. And then I met another guy, and I don't know who that picture was. I don't know who was on that picture.
But it wasn't that guy.
We met at a restaurant to eat.
I did this as a joke.
Yes.
Well, sort of like a dare meant when online dating. So tell me your story.
So we talked for a while, and then we met. He was like, well, I could come get you. I said, no, we can meet and, have some drinks and talk or whatever.
Sure.
So he knew who I was off the date app.
Oh, yeah.
So when he showed up, and I didn't even know who he was because I'm sitting at the bar. It might have been 12, 13 people at the bar. It was a Tuesday. Everything was slow, and I'm sitting there, and he came up and sat down and started talking. I'm like, hey, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. And I said, I'm not trying to be funny. I said, but I'm expecting a date.
Absolutely.
He said, it's me.
Yes.
I said, shit, no, it ain't. Listen.
It might be a relative of someone I ran into many years ago.
It might have been. When I tell you, he looked nothing like the picture.
Absolutely.
He said, I know you're going to say, I don't look like my picture. I said, not only, I'm talking about to the point where
you're being
the skin
fraudulent.
Wasn't even the same color.
Whoa,
he was a black guy.
Yeah.
But it looked like he had done so many alterations on the picture. And we started talking, and he had a lot of self-esteem issues. I felt some kind of way. He was like, yeah, and he was a bigger guy. And he was like, yeah, because, when I put my real picture up there, how I look now, women don't respond. I said, but when you put a picture up,
you're being fraudulent.
When you was in the third grade,
you're being fraudulent.
I don't know, and women don't know how to deal with that. But it was some underlying things. He had a great conversation, and he was like an artist. He could just, and while we were sitting in the restaurant, he was just sketching stuff with an ink pen. He was really, really talented, but whoever he had been with and whatever had gone on in his life, he was damaged. And not to say that he cannot be repaired, but he had a lot of stuff.
Self-esteem, just and
all
self-worth
of that,
was non-existent.
All
and
of that
sad.
stuff. It's sad. I had one guy cuss me out, and I'm gonna let you talk. I put my height in there. I'm 6'2". We met at a restaurant. I'm sitting down. He's like, I need you to stand up. And I stood up. He's like, oh, okay, you are 6'2". He said, I don't like women taller than me. I said, I had that in my profile. He said, well, I don't like women taller than me. And he got up and walked out the restaurant.
Oh, you had some interesting dates.
Oh,
some very interesting dates.
I'm gonna set you up. I'm gonna get you a profile. I'm gonna give you I'm gonna give you another name. I'm gonna call you Claude.
Call me Claude to see what happened.
Pick a name that you want. Pick a name.
As you know, I couldn't even tell you off the top of my head. But Greg, this is what I want to ask you as well. I don't know if I'm sure that you do experience this. You see so many men and women who are single.
Yes.
And they constantly talk about that it's hard to find someone to date because of this or because of that.
On a weekly basis.
Right. Yeah. Do you think, and I was having a conversation with some friends not too long ago, within the last 2 weeks, and sometimes you see men and women, couples, dating or not, where they are in a position of power. And in order for them to feel secure, they won't date someone else that matches their level of success. Yes. They feel like they have to date someone beneath them.
Yes.
Because it helps make them feel superior.
That's an issue.
And better in control of relationship.
Right.
And it was based upon the conversation stemmed from where you see certain power couples together, and you see that they're both like working with each other, helping build each other,
which is how it should be.
How it should be. Yeah. And then you take more of the common stuff that you see. Well, for me, that you see where you see a successful individual, male or female, they'll be here,
right,
and they seem to always be in a competition
with their mate.
With their mate.
And do you know what I call that?
What's that?
Pseudo confidence.
Okay.
Ooh, they faking it.
I call pseudo confidence
because I feel like they use that sometimes. That they use that. Hey,
it's a power trip.
You need
it could
me.
Be a power trip for some of them too.
Yeah.
Correct.
Let's be real.
Correct.
So
definitely power trip. And sometimes you have certain people, and I pay attention to it, where they utilize certain things to cover and hide their own insecurities.
Oh, baby, yeah.
Within a relationship. Yeah. And when people look at them, and sometimes I can see you and I can be like, Greg, man, you doing this and you doing that. You know, you so and so and so and y'all and this. And deep down inside, Greg's like, man, I'm not really happy.
Yeah.
I'm not happy.
It's a lot of that.
What people see, and it's COCO, you've been here forever. Yeah. A lot of people assume, you know, I work with all kind of people. You know, I don't brag. I'm very flattered and humbled by that. And a lot of people look at, you know, it could be professional athletes, high-end CEOs, media personnel, you know, like COCO. And you look at, and everybody assumes, oh, they got this going on, this going. People, you don't really, unless you really know them personally, you don't know challenges. You don't know what they got going on personally. You don't know that, you know, maybe they have a kid that's freaking dying of leukemia. You don't know what's going on in their own insecurities and everything going on. Everybody assumes, and I think it's not only that, it's the image maybe people want to present from themselves, but it's also, I think society paints an image who they want us to be.
Absolutely.
And when I'm talking to us, I'm talking other people.
People.
Yeah, absolutely.
People in general.
It's a combination. So when you have that, like the insecurities and the low self-worth, and also now you're trying to meet their expectations. My question is why? Be comfortable with yourself. Own your insecurities.
But you have to really be in touch with
who you are.
And you have to own all of that.
Very much so.
And I mean, owning, like,
it's not easy. Right? It takes work.
Because listen, some days I wake up and I'm like, all right, what I'm going to put on? Where I'm going? I got to do what? I got to be this. I got to go here. And I got to do that. And no matter what, when it's go time, it's go time. And no matter what's going on in my personal life, when it's go time, it's go time. So any man that finds himself attracted to me or is dating me, it's almost, I gotta say, listen, let me tell you this is what we finna do. Okay, listen. If you want to hang out with me and all that stuff, we could do this and this and this. But you can go to this event. I don't have no problem, and I'm cool with that. But once we get there, I got to work. I'm hosting the event. I'm doing this. I'm doing this or whatever. And I found what I used to do is come back, oh, you okay? You okay? No, this is bullshit. And they ain't. Listen. When somebody tell you something, we don't believe them.
No,
we don't,
right.
We don't believe them. And I'm like, okay, well,
I was legit to you. I was being upfront.
I was honest when I told you all the stuff. And I've had guys that could not handle that. And then I've dated guys who were okay with it. And then I dated guys that were a little overzealous, and they were looking to get their hood points and get their credit up. So they like
on your coattails, so to speak. Right?
Yes. So it takes a certain type of, and I think it's easier for women to date men in more challenging or interesting professions.
Why is that?
Because women are
in your perspective.
Women are taught to be a supporter and to undergird and encourage our man. Oh, he doing this, support him and encourage him or whatever. Men are not necessarily groomed to deal with a woman that has a certain level of success. Like
ego and pride, right? We talked about
a man could date a woman that's a physician.
Yes.
Right? You could date a woman that's a doctor. And because outside of when she's not a doctor, she different. But when you date a woman that is a public figure,
absolutely,
that you can literally go, and I've had guys say it's not true, literally go anywhere in the world with me, and there's something about me that stands out. If people don't recognize it initially, they'll come up to me like, it's something about you. So it leads into a whole conversation. And to be with that type of person, and I know a lot of other women that are in media and they whatever, and they models and everything, whatever, and it comes to a point where it's like, I can't do it. Even when you try to say, listen, I like you, and I want this and this, it's draining because you literally now coaching this person like they're a kid.
Right.
I think
and you tired.
I think it comes with communication, and you just got to be secure with yourself. But I want to go back.
Gotta be secure.
Correct. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The man
or
the woman. You know, depending on who it is.
Yeah.
But I want to go back to what you had said before you got into the public figure part of it. Me personally, when you speak on the female having a career and how some men feel some type of way, me personally, I would not feel any type of way. I would probably feel even more proud. You know, proud because I would feel like, hey, I have someone that's of something and doing something. A substance, and I'm proud of that. And I'm proud that this person, you know, chose me as well. You know, and it's
but you and Greg probably would do well with those type of women.
Everybody. Everybody's not like that. But me personally, I feel like that because together and depending on the relationship, if the love is there and y'all are eye to eye,
that's what it matters.
What she does, if she's making $50,000 more than you and got a better career, when she come home and she lets you know, hey, that doesn't matter. It's you and me at the end of the day. I'm secure with that. I'm cool with that because I feel like when we're together, no matter what I'm doing, no matter what you're doing, when we come together, it's us and we're building whatever we got. And you do
us
have
against the world.
That's it. And you do have women.
Bonnie and Clyde.
Correct.
What was the song? I'm moving by myself, but I'm a force when we're together. That's
it. And then you do have women. You do have women that and I want to put it out there because you do have women that do make more money than some men. A lot of men.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say this, and I want to put this in the air because it's different reasons why some men might not make more money than women
but there's
on
a
on paper.
Lot of men that can't. There's a lot of men that are okay and they love that. They honor it. They're very very supportive and very. I mean, they're proud of their wives, girlfriends.
But put this out there. Put this out there, Greg. You got to keep in mind. You have some men who was making a lot of money.
Yes.
You got some men that caught criminal charges.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got some men that were living a certain life where when they were with their woman, they invested in that female.
Yeah.
And now they can't live that same life, but they invested in hers that she can carry it on. You got some guys that, hey, they might not be that breadwinner at the table, but they compensate in so many other ways.
I love it.
And it makes it work. So I look at
the whole
thing because sometimes you look at society and they put it out there as, hey, the woman make more money, and it makes it look as if the lady makes more money, then she is so superior to the guy.
And that's crazy.
And you have certain circumstances and situations for these men. Various different reasons play a part. You can have a guy that's only talented in this particular field. So if you take that away from him, he's kind of lost still trying to figure it out. And depending on how supportive that woman is, and if you got a strong woman, man, that woman means the world, because she can help you move mountains, man.
She can either make you
or break you,
or destroy you,
or break you.
Right.
Because if you're not willing to move, because see, when I get a plan and I say, listen, okay, and a lot of that guys that I've dated, I've never doubled back, and they had stuff on the table, stuff they wanted to do. I said, listen, I can introduce you to so-and-so, but you got to have a plan. You just can't walk in there with it verbal. You got to have something on paper. And if you're used to being moved along with that certain kind of woman that supports what you do, it'll work. But if you really just want to just kind of sit still and you're not committed to the movement,
you got to do the work.
She will break you.
You got to do the work.
You're broken because now she listen, I said, I did this and I helped you do this because this is for us. You said you wanted to do this. I put you in touch with this person and all that. Yeah, I know.
You got some people, they just lazy. You got some people that's just not motivated.
But you got to know how to be. Here's the thing. You got to know how to be successful. And success comes in a lot of ways, but you have to know spiritually, physically, emotionally how to be successful. Not for that person, for yourself. And success may require you to move and operate in your gift, whatever your gift may be. If your gift is people, then you have to learn to move and operate in that gift. And for somebody that learns that and you dealing with somebody that doesn't understand that, it could be a problem. You have to really, really look at it for what it is. And with the money thing, nowadays, a lot of women making more money than men. But if you're good at what you do,
great, own it. Be proud of it.
I know a power couple, and they're in Texas right now. And to watch them, and they do investments and financial consulting, and they do all the stuff. But to watch them, to go into their home and see how they move, is so non-traditional. Because she does the money stuff, and he does the money stuff as well, but she don't know how to cook, right?
Yeah.
She don't know how to cook. She's clean with herself, but she really don't know how to clean up a house, right? And he love to cook, and he love to clean.
I was going to say, it might not be important to him.
So
it's what works for both
sides. So when you go to the house, and they got somebody, because they got a younger child, when you go to the house is clean, but they have somebody come in once a week and clean the house. That's factored into their weekly budget.
But that's what make their relationship.
And when it comes to food,
work.
It works. You go to the house, he cooked everything laid out or whatever. And she be like, my husband cooked that. She said, baby, I don't know how to cook. she said, I could make you a millionaire, but I don't know how to cook, baby.
But they got their trade-off. They got their balance. And that works for that. Right. It works for that relationship.
Conversation. If you don't have a conversation, because when I hear men say, because if a woman can't cook and clean like my mama, your mama, the reason you got hypertension putting all that white salt in that food.
You ain't living with your mama anymore, are you? Right?
Okay. So you gotta men, I want you to open up your heart and your mind and understand that all women cannot cook, because all women didn't learn how to cook because they was too busy making moves and taking care of their siblings and all of that. And I'm sure that woman wants a man like her father, her grandfather, that's going to bring all the money home and do that. Put away those old traditional thoughts, and you and that woman come up with a plan, and that plan for success, and you come up with an idea like, okay, you like to grocery shop? Well, if you go grocery shopping, I'll put the groceries up. You like to wash? Well, if you wash and dry, I'll fold and put the clothes up. Or, okay, take the garbage can out. All right, well, I'll bag the trash up. You can take it out. If you have a good line of communication, I solely believe if I can communicate with you and we could talk even when we angry. See, that's the key. If I'm mad with you, I still should be able to say, listen, I don't like what you did, Lavish. I'm so upset about it, but you ain't going nowhere. You ain't fighting me.
No, that stuff don't happen. There seemed to be a big blowout.
I ain't fighting you.
Nope.
And we gonna sit down and figure this out. I'm not going to bed mad. We gonna figure this shit out. We gonna sit down and figure this out.
You gotta have somebody that's also mature enough to do that.
Be emotionally mature enough.
Yeah,
because
I missed that part.
Yeah, you got to.
Well, that would be great in theory, right?
Yeah.
And I tell people all the time that, expectations are huge. How do you want to live? What is your example? What is your belief of a happy, healthy relationship? Not mine. Everybody's different. That's why I asked a while ago, Lavish, about what's your view of traditional, right?
Okay.
And so I look at how do you want to be? How do you want to be together? You might have been raised this way, she was raised this way, whatever. But do you look at how do you want to be together, and are you on the same page? Now, nothing's perfect. Now, I don't care how well the communication is, how well you jibe. One wants a child, the other one doesn't want a child. It's not going to work.
Yeah, that's one of the deal breakers.
Expectations are huge. And COCO, I love that. We can work together. What are you looking for? What are you looking for? There's a huge difference, about compatibility. It's not you might like the same exact things. It's about how well you work together. And, do you balance each other out, the pros, the cons, are you, weaknesses and strengths, are you able to balance each other out? That was great, right? Yeah. He cooks, he cleans, he loves it, he's great, she doesn't, and it works great for them. And a lot of people, well, you're a man, you don't, we need to get away from that, COCO, and I love how you said it. So we need to get away from those stereotypes about traditionals.
No, but I want to ask this, since we talked about stereotypes, and also something that you mentioned, you just breezed past it. When you talk about old school traditional ways, as far as your father, grandfather bringing home the money, giving it to the wife to do whatever, however, then you talk about these stereotypes and things in today's world, and we see it on social media, and it's kind of like a two-part question I want to ask you, based off of different social media conversations. You see posts that say, hey, I'm not being in a relationship with a person that, and the words might be loose, if we got to do 50-50. If we doing 50-50, that's not a relationship. I'll be by myself. That's a roommate. And then also, because I'm sure I'm sure you've seen it. So right, so that's
talk about this.
So that's that. Then the second thing is,
absolutely,
do you feel as dating, because you see it all the time, the woman feels, and I think society makes it where it's almost normal to feel like, hey,
entitled.
If you date me, you have to pay me. If you date me,
Lavish, listen,
you got to spend money on me. Listen. And I mean, I get, it costs money.
Show me my worth and my value.
Yeah.
But what are you doing to show that man's worth and value?
Huh?
Right?
Listen, right? I'm gonna tell y'all something. First of all, earlier we talked about friends, Greg, right? We talked about friendship. Okay. And me and Lavish, you walked in, we was fussing at each other.
Oh, yeah.
But we do that all the time.
Right.
But when it's time to do what we got to do, we're going to do what we got to do. If it's something going on, I'll be like, hey, Lavish, look, this is what's going on or whatever. If I can't communicate with my mate the way I communicate with my friend, we got to be able to have the same conversation. And I tell men, what you looking for? I'm looking for a man I can communicate with. That's number one. Number two is these women are talking about, oh, you got to spend money on me and buy a bag. Here's the thing. Look, lady, it's guys out here that got money to spend on bags, and they don't give a damn about you. They'll take you out, walk you around the mall. They will. They'll walk you around the mall because you look good. You got
little
that
showpiece,
right?
You
got them eyelashes, them umbrellas on your face, and they'll walk you around the mall. They may go in there and get you a little Louis keychain or whatever, and they just spend $1,000 on you, and they didn't, they got your little keychain, took you to dinner, whatever. But you can't call him, and if you call, he got 4 phones. You got 1 number, and he got 4 phones. And he may blow your back out, but you can't call him for nothing serious. You can't call and say, my mother in the hospital, and she don't feel good. Can you take me to the hospital? You can't call and say, hey, my car broke down. Could you take me to pick my kids up from school? Hey, listen, my roof leaking. You can't call that person. How you enter into a relationship is how you going to have to continue the relationship. And plus, this is where the old school come in. If I don't want you, I don't want you to spend your money on me. Okay. I don't want you to spend your money on
Preach
me.
It.
Because
Preach
if
it,
you get
COCO.
crazy and I have to bust you in your head with a lamp and split you across your head.
That's the Highland Park coming out of.
It is. With frozen, hit you in your head with a frozen turkey wing, and the police show up. I don't want you to have receipts and be like, yeah, look at what I did for her. No.
Okay.
So if I don't want you, I don't want your money.
Well, we're going to have to.
You need to teach women that.
Yeah, grown women too. Well, these old ass teabags.
Trust me.
Teabag. He got to be able to.
Teabagging was a sexual act, right?
It's old woman too.
No.
You got to be able to do this. I'm like, girl, listen. Why are you trying to get that man to buy you a purse? You need to go get him to buy you some side teeth. And I'm sorry.
Well, listen up, COCO. Listen up, COCO. Listen up, everybody that's watching Lavish COCO podcast. Man, we gotta end this show.
Oh, this was a great show.
It was a great show.
No.
I got clients. I gotta get back to my office.
You can't have one of your clients one
right. You can't because it was almost like an intervention for COCO. She'd been waiting on this. She's like, I gotta get this off my chest. I gotta get this.
Anytime.
I don't like you. I don't like you right now.
I'm just saying. She like, oh man, I got a relationship counselor on here. I need to ask these questions.
You when I got here, I'm like, oh my god, these two need couples therapy already. Right? So.
We did.
No, I'm so flattered. I'm so flattered you reached out and asked for real. And anytime, I'd love to be.
We really gotta have you back because we have to. Healing is a continuous process. That's why I say I'm in continual therapy. I got a therapist. I got a life coach. But we have to continually work on healing and communicating and all of that stuff. And I like Greg because it's easy to talk to you.
Oh, thank you.
And Greg is also a popular guy. So
he's the what's the guy, the Dos Equis man, the distinguished gentleman. In the commercial.
I have no idea, but Greg
might be more like what is it? Captain Obvious might be more than
Okay.
Yeah, but I say this because you're gonna have some people that might, and I hate to use race. Because some people, you got to be mindful because they might look at Greg as, well, what does this white guy know about dating? What does this white guy know about XYZ?
I'm actually black underneath, man.
But a lot of Greg's clients are black.
Us. Yeah.
And I put it out there because I don't want anyone that's sitting out there to already be judgmental because of the color of his skin, speaking on what we're speaking on, because they might feel like, well, he doesn't know anything about us, but a lot of his customers, his clients come from the black community. So I want to put that out there for anybody out there that's listening before they get to stereotyping and become so judgmental. But before we let Greg go, no problem. Before we let you go, I want you to let everybody know how they can contact you in your services, because they gotta know, because people are watching. If they're not watching while we live streaming, they will come back. And if they want to get in contact with you, how can they and where can they find
you? People can hit me up, Greg, or I'm sorry, theartofrelationships.org is my website. You can follow me, Instagram, TikTok, all over, YouTube, Facebook. Love Guru Greg is my handle, and hit me up. You have any questions, anything I can do, hit me up. My office is here in Southfield as well. Okay. And I do virtual and all kind of stuff. Anything I can do.
So do you do premarital counseling as well?
I do a lot of premarital counseling. Come on now. I do a lot of premarital counseling. Because I got a fish on the hook. I just got to. Sweet. I got to dangle that hook right. Look how Lavish looked at me. I do a lot.
No, I'm just listening to you, man.
I do a lot of it. So, and I'm very flattered. I'm very down to earth, very real.
We appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
Because healing and help and growth has absolutely no color, no gender, whatever.
Thank you.
If I need some help, I don't care. Listen, Mickey Mouse can show up. I don't give a damn. Listen, who, what? Okay, get me together. Thank you for coming out. Listen, y'all been listening to the Lavish and COCO podcast. We need y'all to like us and share us and subscribe to us. And tomorrow, Wednesday, if you're in the Detroit metropolitan area in Southfield, I got a comedy show at Debo's Daiquiri right on Northwestern Highway. The show started at 6. By 7:30, the show is done, and then they go right into karaoke. I may stay and sing one song, but it's Debo's Daiquiri right on Northwestern Highway. They got daiquiris and stuff in the front, and we doing comedy in the room in the back. So that's where I'll be, and I'm gonna post it later. I'm
checking my schedule right now so I can swing by.
Come on in. I'm talk for about real. All the stuff.
I'm actually looking at my client schedule
Lavish
tomorrow.
Probably come by. You be busy tomorrow.
Tomorrow I got a major biology test.
Okay, I told you need help with your biology. That's
awesome.
My thing. That's my thing.
Her nursing background, medical background. Sweet.
I told you, I can help you through that.
She can help me. But listen, we're gonna end this show. I appreciate and thank everybody that tuned in to watch the Lavish and COCO podcast, man. Hope to see you guys same time next week.
Everybody get naked and go outside in the rain. Peace.
Yeah, sweet.